Please call me by my true name. Please call me by my true name, so I can wake up, so I can wake up, so the door of my heart will be left open. So the door of my heart will be left open. The door of compassion. The door of compassion. That's all. It's about the poem, Please Call Me By My True Name. One day Thai saw, we received in Sweet Potatoes community a lot of letters from both people who have been raped by sea pirates. And we were very shocked and in pain. And then after several days of meditation, he come out with a poem. Before reading the poem, he did say that if 20 years ago I am born in that remote, poor area of Thailand, if my father ignored me, if my mother is just a prostitute who don't know how to take care of me, if I grow up hungry and nobody give me anything, and if I try to steal, people beat me and put me in jail. So as I do not want to go to jail, I try to be correct, but inside I am full of hatred. And if you hate me, you will not help me. And he said that while we are talking now in this safe area, there are hundreds of thousands who are born in this planet in very poor, remote area where they are not taken care by their father or their mother. And if I am your good teacher, because I own so much from my parents, from my teacher, from a lot of spiritual teacher and a lot of good friends. So I'm not myself alone. When you pay respect to me, you pay respect to my teacher, to many generations of good friends, good teachers who have raised me to be a good person. And if you hate the sea pirate, you will not help. And if we do not do anything for hungry children now in many remote, poor areas of the planet, we'll have a lot chance that we will have some more sea pirates. And then he wrote the poem, Please Call Me By My True Name. I see myself as a male, as an insect, but I see myself as a frog who is eating the insect. I see myself as a little girl raped by the sea pirate, but I see myself as a sea pirate who don't know how to love. I see myself as a children die of hunger in Uganda, but I see myself as a merchant who sell weapons for people to kill each other. And please call me by my true name. That is the meaning of that song. Please call me, it's too hard. Please call me by my true name. Please call me by my true name, so I can wake up, so the door of my heart will be left open. So the door of my heart will be left open. The door of compassion. The door of compassion. Please sing with me. Please call me by my true name. Please call me by my true name. Please call me by my true name, so I can wake up. Do it again. So I can wake up, wake up. So the door of my heart, so the door of my heart will be left open, will be left open. So the door of my heart, so the door of my heart will be left open. The door of compassion, the door of compassion. The children do great. You almost know the song. Do it again. Please call me by my true name. Please call me by my true name, so I can wake up, wake up. So the door of my heart will be left open. So the door of my heart will be left open. The door of compassion, the door of compassion. We tip the children, so I do it very short, so you all can sing. Please call me by my true names. Do it again. Please call me by my true names. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up. Do it again. So I can wake up, wake up. So the door of my heart, please. So the door of my heart will be left open, will be left open. The door of compassion, the door of compassion. Please call me by my true names. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, so I can wake up, wake up. So the door of my heart, do it again. So the door of my heart will be left open, will be left open. The door of compassion, the door of compassion. Any child know the meaning of that song? It's like that. Sometimes somebody come and pickpocket you and take your good things, and you are angry at them, at that child. He tried to steal you, and you take his hand. You was about to give him a slap, but if you look deeper, and then you see that, oh, I have a father, I have a mother, I have a good mother or father who give good care of me. But when you ask him why you go and steal people like that, and so you learn that he has no father at all, and his mother do not care at him at all. His mother left him with some grandma or neighbor, and she go out for all day long, and she do not take care of him. And when he's hungry, he has nothing to eat. You are hungry, you have what? The refrigerator. But there, There is many corners of the planet where children are very poor. They do not have even a house to live. Not saying that they have a refrigerator to have plenty of food inside. So when they are hungry, they have nothing to eat. And their mother is somewhere, they don't know. And they don't know even their father. And they are so hungry, and they go and they beg some food, and people don't give them anything. And they look at people, when people do not look at them, they try to steal. And it's become a habit. And then now they see you have something to eat, they just try to steal you. And when you look deep like that, your heart will be open, because you see that you have a good mother, good father, and you have a lot of things to eat, a lot of clothes, a lot of everything you have. And they don't have anything. And if they behave in a very bad way, it's not only their fault, because nobody cares of them. And so we do left open the door of compassion.
Brothers and sisters to come and chant the willow branch. For the children to come up, but I'm not sure that the platform can be large enough for everyone. Maybe the youngest ones. The youngest one are invited to come with the monks and nuns, because you do look like monks and nuns.
The nectar of compassion is seen on the willow branch held by the Bodhisattva. A single drop of this nectar is enough to bring back life in the 10 directions of the cosmos. May all afflictions of this world disappear totally, and may this practice center be completely purified by the Bodhisattva's nectar of compassion. From deep understanding, the flower of great eloquence blooms. The Bodhisattva is standing majestically on the waves of birth and death, free from all afflictions. Her compassion eliminates all sickness, even thought as incurable. Her light sweeps away all obstacles and dangers. The willow branch in her hand, once waved, reveals countless Buddha lands. Her lotus flower, when blooming, becomes a multitude of practice centers. I bow to her. I see her true presence in the here and the now. I offer her the incense of my heart. May the Bodhisattva of deep listening touch us with her great compassion. Namo Avalokiteshvaraya.
Đâu cần dương liễu vương cam lộ, một giọt mười phương rưỡi cũng đầy. Bao nhiêu trần lụy tiêu tan hết, đàn tràng thân tình Nam mô Bồ Tát Phân Lương Địa. Nam mô Bồ Tát Phân Lương Địa. Nam mô Bồ Tát Phân Lương Địa. Trí tuệ bừng lên đó biển tài, đứng yên trên sóng sạch trần ai. Cam lộ chữa lành cơn khổ, bền hào quang quét sạch bụi nguy tai. Liệu biến phân bày muôn thế giới, sen hồng nở hé vạn lâu đài. Cúi đầu ca ngợi dân hương thỉnh, xin nguyện từ bi ứng hiện ngay.
noise of the heat, please.
I wonder whether we can reduce the noise. The children will have a separate Dharma talk. And the subject of the Dharma talk is the practice of what we call the cake in the refrigerator. This is a wonderful practice. And I asked one sister to give you that Dharma talk. Maybe Sister Định Nghiêm can help you. The cake in the refrigerator, that is the subject of your Dhamma talk today. So when you hear the bell, please stand up and bow to the Sangha and go to your Dhamma talk. Talk for adults today will be very boring. My dear friends, today is the 23rd of October 97th. We are on our 5th day of the retreat in Omega. Today we shall try to practice mindful speaking. We should talk about the Sangha building. We should talk about the opportunity to continue our practice after the retreat. And I suggest that you begin your talking with the first mantra. Darling, I know you are there, and I'm very happy. I used to practice this mantra not only with people, but with animals, plants, and minerals. One day I was coming up the hill from my still sitting hut, and I saw the full moon in the sky. And I looked at the full moon, and I practiced breathing in and out deeply, and I smiled at the moon, and I practiced the first mantra. I know you are there, and I am very happy. And the moon was very moved. I felt it anyway. A few years ago, we were in Korea, and around the house that we stayed, there were many magnolia trees blossoming. The kind of magnolia I did not see in France. I do not see in France. Very white, it's like snow, very beautiful. And they were in full bloom. I spent wonderful time walking around the full blossoms. And I was so happy. And I talked to the magnolia flowers. I say, I know you are there, and I am very happy. I practiced the first mantra to many people, with many things, including the flower, the trees, the moon, the stars. When you are there, and when you are mindful, you see the value of all that are there in the present moment, and you feel very fortunate. You feel very lucky that you are still alive. You are in a position to touch these things very deeply. You are able to live deeply that moment of your daily life. So I would suggest that today you begin your talking with the first mantra. And then today and tomorrow, if we are to speak, we will only use that kind of speech called positive, loving speech. Today I would like to talk to you about the practice of crossing over to the other shore. And this practice does not seem to be difficult, like we may think, may have thought. We realize that we are on this shore, the shore of ill-being, and we want to cross to the shore of well-being. We are on this shore of anger, and we don't want to stay on this bank, and we want to cross to the other shore, the shore of non-anger. We are on the shore of hatred, and we know that hatred is killing us, is making us miserable. We don't want to be the victim of hatred. We want to cross to the other shore, the shore of non-hatred. It's like we are on the shore of toothache. We don't want to be on this shore. We want to cross the shore to the shore of non-toothache. This is called in Sanskrit paramita. Paramita means crossing over to the other shore. There are 6 ways of crossing to the other shore, and every way is possible for us. We can do it today, and we can cross over to the other shore very quickly if we know how. Crossing to the other shore is our business every day, because it may happen that we are caught in our anger, in our anguish, in our fear, in our jealousy, and we don't feel good. We don't feel well within ourselves, so we want to cross to the other shore. We don't want to be the victim of these afflictions. People may think that it takes many years, many lifetimes in order to cross to the other shore. But it is not so. Because if we know the practice, we can cross over to the other shore many times a day. The Buddha said, the other shore, you cannot pray for it to come, for you to step on. The other shore, please come so that I can step on you. No, it's not possible. You have to actually cross over to the other shore. The first practice of crossing over, the first paramita is the practice of giving, generosity, dana paramita. One might ask, how can I give if I don't have anything to give? I don't have a lot of money. What I can give? That is why we have to look back in order to see what we do have in this very moment that can be shared with other people. Because the practice of giving is wonderful. It can bring us over to the other shore very quickly. When you are angry at someone, and anger is making you miserable, if you know how to practice giving, anger will leave you right away. The Buddha said, when you are angry with someone, at someone, and if you have tried other means and without success, send him a gift. Send her a gift. And you see the effect of giving. I don't know whether you have tried it or not, but it is very effective. When we are angry at someone else, our tendency is to punish him or her. We want to make him suffer. We want to make her suffer because we believe that by making the other person suffer, we will get a relief. What a naive way of thinking. We know that that's not intelligent. We know because we are intelligent more than enough in order to see that punishing the other person will not give us a relief. Because if we make the other person unhappy, the other person will try his best in order to get a relief by making you suffer more. And you see, there is an escalation of suffering on both sides. The natural tendency is that when you suffer, you want to punish the person whom you think to be the cause of your suffering. And you believe that by making the other person suffer, you get the satisfaction, you get a relief. All of us have had experience that it does not work that way. When you make the other person suffer, he will try to suffer less by punishing you in order to get a relief, and then you suffer more. And yet we are engaged in that kind of practice, which is a vicious circle. That is why the Buddha advised us to use dana paramita to break the circle. Instead of punishing, giving. You do have things to give, but you don't want to give. For instance, you are capable of smiling, but you don't want to give your smile because you want to punish him. Why should you smile? You have freshness in you. You have solidity in you. You have space in you, and yet you don't want to offer that to him or to her because you are angry at him or at her. And that is why the Buddha suggested with a smile that the next time when you get angry at her, instead of punish her, give her something. I want to add to this teaching of the Buddha, don't wait until you get angry at her in order to prepare the gift. You prepare a gift in advance. You wrap it with all your love, and you put it in your in a place where she doesn't know. And then at the time when you get so angry at her, and you remember what the Buddha has told you, and you go silently to the place where you hid the gift, walking in mindfulness, you take it out, and then you go to the post office, you send it to her, and on your way back home, you feel much better. We do have a lot to give. We have learned that the best thing we can give is our true presence. Practice mindful breathing, practice mindful walking, you recover yourself and you offer your true presence to that person. When you are angry, you do not want to do that. You don't want to offer that person anything because there is a tendency to punish. And if even the other person come to you and try to touch your shoulder, you go not like her to touch you. You say, leave me alone. You are thrifty. You don't want to give anything, even to allow him or her to touch, because you get hurt. When we cultivate our freshness, flower fresh, that is to offer it to the people we love. We have the freshness, we have the flowerness in us in order to make the world more beautiful. That is our purpose, the purpose of our practice. Therefore, don't be stingy. You have to offer him, you have to offer her your freshness. Don't try to punish. Because you yourself, sometimes, you are not skillful. You are not mindful. And you may say things, you may do things that can hurt the other person. And you are worth, you need compassion. You don't need punishment. When we do not have enough skillfulness, when we do not have enough mindfulness, we need compassion. We don't need punishment. That is why if the other person is not skillful, is not mindful, and have done or said anything that can hurt you, she is not to be punished. She is to be helped. She needs our compassion. So you offer her your compassion, your understanding. That is Dana Paramita, the practice of giving. You offer your presence. You offer your flowerness. You offer your stability. Well, stability is a great thing to offer. Imagine a boat of refugees crossing the ocean and caught in a storm. Everyone on the boat is panicking, and that will cause the boat to capsize, to turn over. If there is one person who is stable, who is solid, who can command the attention of the boat, please don't do like that. Sit very still, because if you don't, the boat will turn over. And then everyone in that situation would need someone like you who are do whatever you want them to do, and you save the life of so many people on the boat. That is why we have to cultivate our solidity, mountain solid. And in the family, in the society, solidity is what you can give. You can offer to members of your family, to the members of your society. Because around us, many people are shaky, many people are unstable. They cannot serve as the refuge to other people. And when you practice cultivating your solidity, you will have something to offer to the world, to the people you love. And that is why don't think that money is the only thing you can give. You can give your true presence, you can give your flowerness, you can give your stability. And while you practice walking meditation or sitting meditation, you are really cultivating the element of stability in you. A teacher that has no stability is not a good teacher. A brother, a Dharma brother who has no stability is not a good Dharma brother. A father who has no stability is not a good father. A mother who does not have stability is not the best kind of mother. And that is why the practice is very crucial. You practice stability and you offer yourself the element of stability, and you offer also to other people around you that element of stability. The Tathagata is our stability, our freedom, our peace. We can offer people our calm, our clarity, still water. If you are calm, if you can see things as they are, that is a big gift. The people around us may be confused. They do not see things clearly. They misconceive things. They distort things as they see them, they perceive them. And they got into a lot of trouble, sorrow, fear, worries, jealousy. And if you are the person who has the tranquility of mind, if you have practiced shamatha, the calming of your mind, the stopping, and if your mind has become something like still water, you can reflect things as they truly are, and that is a great gift to the people you love. Dear friend, it is not like that. You have not seen it right. It is like this. And you help them with your perception of reality, with your tranquility, with your calm. If in the family there is such a person who can see things clearly, who is calm, that is a fortune for the whole family. Even in a country there are people like that, and then the country is fortunate, because the capacity of being calm, the capacity of seeing clearly is so crucial for our well-being. You can offer also your freedom. If you are caught in your worries, in your fear, in your cravings, you are no longer a free person. You cannot practice giving. You cannot make people happy. And that is why it's very important to untie the bonds that have been made us a slave of our afflictions. Every step you make can help you to free yourself. Every in-breath and out-breath you practice can help liberate you, so that you will be a free person walking on this planet, looking around with your deep insight. And with that freedom, you have a lot to offer to the people you love. You have a lot to offer to humanity and the world. We have a great deal to give. As I have said before, in the monastic culture, there is the practice of living in solitude. Solitude does not mean loneliness. You need solitude in order to cultivate your freedom, to cultivate your stability, to cultivate your freshness. If you do not have time for yourself to be alone, you cannot practice walking meditation, sitting meditation, and doing things calmly and quietly in mindfulness. Because practicing these things will enrich you. You cultivate a lot of qualities in you, and then you have a lot to share with the people you love and with society. If you only spend time in company with other people, always talking, always doing things in forgetfulness, you become poorer and poorer every day. You have not much in order to share, to give to the people you love and to the world. And that is why the practice of solitude in the monastic setting can be shared somehow with the people who actually live in society. We have to arrange so that in our daily life we should have time in order to be alone, to be in solitude, because that is the only way to cultivate the jewels, the most precious things that a human person can have in order to make the happiness of other people, living beings, society. There is a variety of scallion in my country called hare. It is a wonderful vegetable. The more you cut, the more quickly it springs up. Generosity. The more you give, the more you have of it. You don't lose anything when you give. The opposite is true. The more you give, the richer you become. When you are able to smile to him, and then you get the joy already, because if you can make him smile, that smile will go back to you very quickly. You are stingy. You don't want to smile to him. But if you are able to smile to him and to make him smile, you'll be fully rewarded right away. It is like television stations. They send signals to the satellite, and the satellite send back the signal to the earth very quickly, and millions of houses can receive these signals and the television programs. So Dharma Paramita has an immediate effect. The moment when you are determined to give, to practice generosity, you receive the reward right away. Please try. Offer your presence to the moon, and the moon will offer her presence to you right away. Another gift, a wonderful gift that you can make, is understanding. Understanding is the second paramita, called prajna paramita, crossing over by understanding. Is a great gift. It is like love. Love is a great gift. But understanding here is the giving of understanding, the offering of understanding, not the exigence, not the need to be understood. The need to be understood is not a practice. The need to be loved is not a practice, because everyone feels that he is not understood enough, she is not loved enough. So to tell the people that I feel unloved, I feel not understood, that is not practice, that is complaining. We have come to practice and not to complain. That is why understanding is a practice, and the practice of understanding is a gift. Very often it is understood as the greatest gift. In the Buddhist teaching, we find out that understanding and love are just one thing. Where is true understanding, there is true love. And love, true love, is made with a substance called understanding. If you don't understand someone, you cannot really love her or him. If you do not understand her difficulty, her suffering, her hardship, her childhood, her aspiration, her deepest aspiration, how could you love her and make her happy? That is why true love is made only with the substance of understanding. And understanding is the fruit of deep looking, namely meditation. So you have the element of understanding within yourself. You can offer that to the people you love. People would not feel truly loved if they don't feel understood. That is why offering him, offering her understanding That is offering true love. And of course, you can cultivate your understanding. When we practice chanting the Heart Sutra, the purpose of the chanting is to cultivate more understanding. But many of us just chant, just enjoy the chanting, just enjoy the music of chanting, and we don't really practice. Because the wisdom of the Heart Sutra is powerful like a thunder. The Heart Sutra is the kind of thunder that helps us to break through and to see the true nature of reality. And yet we are satisfied with words, with the music, with the chanting. And we have chanted maybe 1,000,000 times of the Heart Sutra, but we do not get a better understanding of reality, of our own suffering. Because prajna paramita, true understanding, the highest understanding, is the fruit of our practice of calming, concentrating, and looking deeply into the nature of things, including our suffering, our anger, our joy. When you love someone, you should try to practice looking deeply. Do you have the time to love? If you have the time, and then you will have the energy of mindfulness that will be used to embrace the person you love. If you are mindful of him, if you focus your attention, your concentration on him, and if you just practice looking into him, you discover there are blocks of suffering, of pain. There are difficulties. There are conflicts within him. There are deep, deep aspirations unfulfilled in him. And because of that practice of calming, concentrating, looking deeply, you begin to understand. And when understanding is there, you will stop blaming and punishing him. And you feel much better, and he will feel much better at the same time. And that is the gift we call the gift of understanding. Please remember, in the Buddhist teaching of love, understanding is considered to be the main substance of true love. If the husband does not understand his wife, how could he love her and make her happy? And that is why the husband has to practice looking deeply. And he may ask the support of his wife, "Darling, do you think I understand you enough? Do I, while loving you, make you suffer? Please tell me, please help, because I really want to love you and make you happy." You have to confess your ignorance. You have to ask the other person to help you so that you can understand him, understand her. That is truly the language of love. And if you talk with that kind of language of love, she will begin to cry. You have not understood her, and you have made her suffer. And now she has an opportunity, she will tell you of the long-term suffering that she has endured. And now you listen, You listen with all your heart. You listen like the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, so that you have a chance to understand her. And the time when you begin to understand, love begins to spring up like a source of fresh water. And that will make you and her feel much better. If you are a father, and if you believe that you love your son or your daughter, you should not be too sure of it. I do not doubt that you love him or her. But I may have questions concerning your way of loving him or her. Because Maitri, which is the Sanskrit word for loving kindness, it means to offer joy, to offer happiness. Karuna means the capacity of removing the pain. Are two elements of true love. If your love does not have the capacity of removing the pain and offering the joy, it's not true love yet. The more you love him, the more you destroy him, because you do not understand him. And that is why a father can use that kind of language to talk to his son. My son, do you think that I understand you enough? Have I made you suffer because of my love? That is the language of love. And your son may cry, and he will tell you. And you have a chance to learn about his difficulties, his conflicts, his despair, his hopes. You are communicating with each other with the language of love. And both of you are practicing looking deeply. True love is made of this kind of elements of practice. And we can help each other. We are co-practitioners. And he becomes an element of your Sangha. She becomes an element of our Sangha. We must meet each other on the path of practice, of looking deeply and of loving. So, Dana Paramita, the practice of giving, is wonderful. You know, you have an amount of understanding to offer. Why don't you offer it? And while doing so, you can always cultivate more understanding by the practice of mindfulness, mindful looking. The more you understand, more and as you continue to practice, your understanding will continue to grow. And when that understanding has come to the highest level, it will be called Maha Prajna, great understanding. How could we arrive at great understanding if we do not evolve on the path of understanding? And how could we evolve on the path of understanding if we do not practice mindful looking, mindful touching in our daily life? I have drawn on the board a flower of 6 petals, and each petal represents one of the 6 paramitas. The first one is the practice of giving Dana Paramita, and you know you can practice it today, because you do have things to give. Don't let the desire to punish block your way. Remove it. Be generous. Give your smile. Give your support. Give your freshness. Give your understanding. Give your stability. And you know that you will be rewarded right away. You don't want the reward, but it is inevitable. To the left, you have the paramita of understanding. In the Buddhist tradition, understanding is container that contain all the other 5 elements of paramita. The deeper your understanding is, the greater the 5 other paramitas become. If the container is not well cooked in the stove, and the water contained in it will begin to flow out. That is why the container, the earthware, has to be baked well in the stove, so that the water contained in it will not leak out. Understanding is the kind of element that you can see everywhere in the other 5 paramitas. If you have understanding, and then your practice of giving will be wonderful. To give with understanding, and to give understanding, you can change the world. You can change the situation of your own person, the situation of your family. You just can change it in 24 hours with your practice of giving. Be generous. You can start right now. You can use the first mantra. You can use the second mantra. You are talented. You are extremely wealthy. You can give right now. Don't hesitate. Have faith in the Dharma. Have faith in the practice. The prajna paramita, the practice of crossing over by understanding, is very quick. You are caught by your anger. You are caught by your despair. The Buddha said, your anger, your despair, your jealousy, your worries, all are grounded in ignorance. Avidya means the lack of insight, the lack of light. Because of our wrong perceptions, we suffer so much. We get caught up in our fear, in our jealousy, in our despair, in our anger. It is understanding, it is prajna paramita that can destroy all these delusions, bring light into the here and the now, dissipate all the darkness, and liberate you from your despair, your sorrow, your anger. And that is why prajna paramita is the mother of all the Buddhas, past, present, and future. You are a son of Mahaprajna Paramita. You are a daughter of the Mahaprajna Paramita. Allow her to bring you to life. You become a Buddha for the sake of unlimited living beings. Allow yourself to be born as a child of Mother Mahaprajna. In India, I have seen a statue of Mahaprajna Paramita. They personalize that mother of all the Buddhas. And you know, the mother of all Buddhas are within each of us. Just allow her to become your mother, and you become her later on. The practice of understanding is wonderful. And to practice meditation is to follow the path of deep looking, so that the flower of understanding will bloom within you for the sake of many, many living beings. On your right is the petal of mindfulness training. Shila Paramita. Shila means precepts, the practice of mindfulness training. That is something you can offer. You have received the 5 mindfulness trainings, or you are going to receive the 5 mindfulness trainings. That is a tremendous gift you can make to the world. Because the 5 mindfulness trainings have the power to protect you, to protect your family, and to protect the world. The 5 mindfulness trainings are a very concrete way to live your mindful life. And when you embrace the 5 mindfulness trainings and live accordingly, you become a bodhisattva, an enlightened being that is needed in our present world. In the first mindfulness training, we commit ourselves to protect life, to protecting life. That is an urgent need. We want to be alive, and we want to protect all forms of life. We have that deepest desire in us, and it is motivated by our love, our compassion. No one is forcing us to practice this. We take up this mindfulness training because we are so concerned about the destruction of life that is going on in many forms. And that is why we are determined to practice this, protecting life. But we know that without the support of a Sangha, we cannot do it the best we can. We have to continue learning in order to do better and better every day. I want to grow my rose. I want to have beautiful rose. But while growing my roses, I might have to kill the pest. I might have to use a pesticide. And I don't know, I don't want to do that. How to have rose and not to kill pest? I have to ask my Dharma brother. I have to ask my teacher. They may have an experience. I know that it is impossible for us to practice the first mindfulness trainings perfectly. Even if we are vegetarian, our vegetarian dish is still not entirely vegetarian. When we boil some vegetable, we kill microorganisms in it, and that is why looking deeply, we see that my vegetarian dish is not entirely vegetarian. So no one can practice perfectly the first mindfulness training, including the Buddha, because the Buddha does have to eat vegetarian dishes. But the problem is not to be perfect. The problem is how to make steady steps on that direction of compassion and loving kindness. The essential is how to learn to do better every day. And that we can rely on our Sangha. Because the Sangha has a Sangha eyes that is brighter than our own individual eyes. We have to rely, we have to believe, we have to trust our Sangha eyes. There are things we cannot see by ourselves alone. But our Sangha may shine the light on it to help us to understand better. That is why once you have received the 5 mindfulness trainings, you have to come together every 2 weeks or 4 weeks in order to practice the recitation of the mindfulness trainings and participate in Dharma discussion to find out how to better apply these teachings in our daily life. And we continue to learn. We monks and nuns, we have a lot of time to study and to practice. And yet, we know that we do not have a perfect understanding of the 5 mindfulness trainings. And we still continue to learn, to discover better ways in order to implement our insight, our understanding into our daily life, so that the safety of living beings will be increased day by day. When you go north and you use the northern star as direction, that does not mean that you want to arrive at the northern star. The essential is to go north. And that is why you don't have to be perfect in practicing the 5 mindfulness trainings. What is essential is that you make a strong decision to go in that direction, because that is the most beautiful direction, the direction of love, of protection. And when you practice this mindfulness training of protecting life, you are practicing giving. One of the most beautiful things you can give. You give life. You give safety. You give non-fear. Non-fear is a wonderful thing to give. The Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara is well known as someone who has the gift of non-fear to give. She knows how to reveal to us the nature of no birth and no death of reality. And once we have touched our own nature of no birth, no death, we get the non-fear. We are no longer afraid. And we can ride on the waves of birth and death happily without any fear. And that is why practicing the first mindfulness training is a great gift you can make to the world and to yourself. The second training is the same. The third training is the same. So many families have been broken up by sexual misconduct, and children growing up in these families are not happy people. They don't believe in family. They become wandering ghosts, hungry ghosts. Many children have been sexually abused and they suffer for all your life. When you make the determination to receive the third mindfulness trainings, you become a Bodhisattva. You are determined to do everything in your power in order to protect children from sexual abuse. And you become a teacher by your own way of behavior. And when you make the decision to receive and practice that third mindfulness trainings, you get a lot of energy. The energy needed for a bodhisattva to be tirelessly active. And that is why people always tell me that after the reception of the 5 mindfulness trainings, I feel greatly empowered, because that energy, that vow, that determination to follow the path, to become a bodhisattva in order to protect ourselves, our families, and our society. When you are determined to receive the 4th mindfulness trainings, you are aware that loving speech and deep listening so much needed in this world. We are divided. We have lost our talent to communicate with each other. We have lost the capacity to speak to each other with loving kindness. In a time when we can communicate very quickly with our internet, with our email, with our fax, with our cellular telephone, communication between humans and humans have become very difficult. There are families where father can no longer talk to son. Wife is no longer capable of talking to husband. And many people feel completely isolated, cut off. Nobody seems to be able to communicate with you. You are not capable of communicating to anyone. You are completely blocked up. And you go to a psychotherapist with the hope that this one may be able to sit quietly and listen to you. But very often the therapist has his own suffering or her own suffering. And her capacity of listening to you is a question. The therapist has to train himself or herself in the art of compassionate listening, in the art of deep listening. He has to learn it from Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of deep listening. You listen not only to have ideas, not to analyze, to judge, but you listen with the only purpose, with the only desire to allow the other person to speak out. You practice sitting quietly like that, focusing all your attention in order to listen. You listen with one desire, only one, to allow him or her a chance to pour out the suffering, because up until now, no one has been able to sit and listen. And because that his speech is full of bitterness and anger, no one has the capacity to listen. But now you practice as a bodhisattva. You have enough strength to sit and to listen. And even if that person is unjust, is bitter, is angry, you can still maintain your compassion. Because you know, listening like that is a bodhisattva practice. You may be the first person who sit and listen that way to him. It will be very, very healing to him or to her. The 4th mindfulness training is about deep listening and using calm, loving speech If you cultivate the art of deep listening, compassionate listening, and loving speech, you are practicing one of the greatest giving possible. You have a lot to give. And I trust that you understand that the 5 mindfulness trainings are not something forced on us by a God, by a spirit, by a teacher, but something born from our own awakening. I am aware that so much suffering has been born because of that. That is why I make determination not to follow that path, in order to give me a chance, to give my family and my society a chance. The mindfulness trainings should be the collective practice of our society, and this should not only be the individual practice. It should be the practice of a nation, of several nations coming together. That is the only hope. And the 5 mindfulness trainings can be identified in every great spiritual tradition. And the 5 mindfulness trainings that are proposed to you are presented with the Buddhist insight and language. And I do hope that every great spiritual tradition would offer the equivalent from their own tradition. Offer in such a form, such a way that the younger generation can feel that they understand, that they can accept, not dogmas, not something forced on them, but a form of collective awakening. On the right side of the flower, you see meditation as a paramita practice. Dhyana paramita, Chan paramita, Zen paramita. I like to interpret, to translate meditation as the practice of looking deeply. But looking deeply can only be done on the base of concentration. Because meditation, as you have heard, is made of 2 elements. The first element being shamatha. Shamatha, it means stopping, calming, concentrating. Be still. Be still. Be still and know. Be still is shamatha. And know means vipassana. Know means to understand, to see. That is the fruit of deep looking. Vipassana means looking deeply in order to get the insight. And that is why vipassana has been translated as the insight meditation. And you know, insight cannot be possible without looking deeply, and looking deeply is not possible without concentrating, stopping, calming. So what we learn in a retreat like this is the practice of shamatha, of vipassana, so that we can live more deeply each moment of our life. And in the course of living, we will discover the things we have never seen, because now we know how to look more deeply, to live more deeply each moment of our daily life. On your left, there is the petal of inclusiveness. Shanti Paramita. Usually it is translated as patience. Patience. Forbearance. But after having looked deeply, I think the word inclusiveness is a better word. This is a wonderful practice. And it can bring you to the other shore very quickly. The Buddha said, if someone take a handful of salt and pour it in a bowl of water and stir, the water will be too salty for anyone to drink. You cannot drink that water, you have to throw it away. But with the same amount of salt put into a river, it will not have the same kind of effect. People can still come to get the water in the river for drinking and cooking. Why? Because the river is immense. And the water in the river has the power of receiving and transforming, much greater than the water in a bowl. When you suffer, if you suffer, that is because your heart is still small. There is a way to open your heart, to make it large, like a river. And the moment when your heart is immense like a river, that will not be able to make you suffer. Injustice, discrimination, hatred, all these things we can receive, we can embrace, we can transform without having to suffer at all. We have to cultivate the unlimited mind, the 4 Brahma Viharas. We have to be like water. When the young Rahula monk was 18, the Buddha gave him a discourse on inclusiveness. He said, Rahula, practice so that you be like the earth. If people come and pour on earth fragrant things like milk, perfumes, putting on it things like a flower, silk, or even if people pour on earth urine, excrements, spit on it, the earth will not mind. The earth receives everything, is ready to receive everything, and in no time at all, the earth will be able to transform all these things. One day I was walking in the upper hamlet of Plum Village with the children. In late spring, we identify so many beautiful flowers and bush and trees. And at the end of the path, we saw some excrement left by a certain dog. And the children tried to avoid. And they want to carry me quickly so that I would not see that. But I resisted. I hold them back and I show it to them. I say, do you think how long the earth will be able to transform this matter in order for the flowers around it to grow more beautifully? And then I and children stay and practice looking deeply. And the children will be able were able to see that the earth has the great capacity of receiving, absorbing, and transforming. So it is our practice to be like the water, to be like the earth. Rahula. When you bring things, beautiful things, fragrant things, and things that smell bad to a fire, in order for the fire to burn, the fire will receive everything. The fire will not resist and refuse. Why? Because the fire has the capacity of burning, receiving and burning, transforming everything. So practice like the air, like the fire, like the water, like the earth, and you will no longer have to suffer. I remember during the Vietnam War, the life of a Vietnamese is not equal to the life of an American. There was discrimination. The American administration cared about the life of American boys. And America was working very hard at that time in order to protect, to relieve the suffering of American soldiers in Vietnam. In military operation and in other circumstances, we all notice that the life of a Vietnamese soldier, the life of a Vietnamese civilian, the life of a Vietnamese guerrilla is not equal, was not equal to the life of an American. If you were there in Vietnam, 40 of the Vietnam War veterans are here today. They can testify it to you, the discrimination. I myself am not a white person. I felt that I am discriminated against. But I don't suffer. I don't suffer at all. Gay, lesbians, Hispanic, black, they have understood what is discrimination. Many of them have suffered of discrimination. But if they know how to practice this paramita, they will stop suffering, and instead they will get the resource, the energies, in order to help the people who discriminate against them. During the Vietnam War, not only I was capable of seeing the Vietnamese civilian as victims of the war, not only I was capable of seeing Vietnamese military men, both North and South, as victims, but I was also capable of seeing American boys who were sent to Vietnam to kill and to be killed as victims. I did not discriminate because I was aware that everyone is human and we are victims of the war, We are victims of a policy that was not so intelligent. I was aware that the cause of the suffering is the wrong perception on the mind of those who are responsible for the war. There's so much violence, there's so much misunderstanding, there's so much discrimination. How can you bear all that if you don't practice Shanti Paramita? If you don't have a heart that is large enough, how could you bear all this kind of discrimination and hatred and misunderstanding and wrongness they inflict on you? There was a time when there were 6 guerrillas coming into the town of Bente, the hometown of Sister Chankam. And they set up anti-aircraft guns in the city. Just less than 10 people, from 6 to 10 people. And because of that, the whole town was bombed and destroyed. And the American officer who was responsible for the operation stated to the press that he wanted to destroy the town in order to save it. To destroy the town in order to save it from communism. When you are high on a plane and you drop a bomb, you don't know exactly what is down there. You are motivated by your fear, your hatred, your anger, and you don't know who is being destroyed by the bombs. A lot of injustice. A grenade was thrown into my room in my temple close to the School of Youth for Social Service. And that night, the curtain returned to the next room. It exploded. Otherwise, I would not be sitting here today. A lot of injustice, a lot of discrimination, a lot of hatred. How can you survive that without the practice of Shanti Paramita? This bottle, its capacity is to hold only half a liter. And if you force 1 liter into it, it will break. Our heart is like that. If our heart is small, if our understanding is small, too much suffering, too much injustice will kill us. Black, Hispanic, gay, lesbian, and how many more of us who are under the treatment of discrimination and injustice. When I look deeply into myself, I can see that no birth and no death is my ground of being. And my practice of looking deeply is to be aware of the fact that my ground of being is nirvana, is no birth, no death. My ground of being is God. God is beyond all religion. God is not religion. God is beyond. God is the ground of being. And it's like the waves on the surface of the ocean. The waves might be big, small, high, low, more or less beautiful, but the ground of all waves, the substance of all waves is water. Whether you are black, whether you are yellow, whether you are Hispanic, whether you are gay or lesbian, your ground of being is the same. You don't have to get any complex. And that is why I said that God himself is a lesbian. If you got deep into your nature of being, you discover that you are like everyone. You have exactly the same value, the same sense, the same essence. And you don't have to suffer of discrimination. True understanding, Mahaprajna, can help you to see things that other people cannot see. And suddenly all the complex will vanish, and you have the heart of understanding, the heart of compassion, the mind of love, bodhicitta. And once you have that, you are no longer a bottle, you are no longer a bowl, you are an immense river, you are the ocean, you are the whole earth. You have the capacity to receive everything and to transform them. What has made you suffer in the past is no longer capable of making you suffer anymore. And that is why the word inclusiveness is used. You embrace everyone. You do not let anyone out. You embrace everyone. You are worth God. You are worth your God. You are worth your true nature of being. Because you are immense. You are capable of embracing everyone. You have no discrimination. And this goes along perfectly with the insight, Buddhist insight. That everyone share the same ultimate reality. That a wave is a wave, but she is at the same time water. If the wave has the capacity of bending down and touch the water within her, and then she will lose all her fear, all her complex. If you have only 1 or 2 days to live, because you have an incurable disease, and if you can bend down and touch the nature of no birth, no death in you, you get the non-fear, and you can die happily, because that is not dying. Because in terms of water, there is up and down, coming and going, this and that. But in terms of water, there is no beginning, no ending, no high, no low. You are free. You are free. There is one petal left. That is the diligence, virya paramita. That is translated as continued practice. Thầy Pháp Ân, could you bring back the other sheet with the seed of anger and the seed of mindfulness? That's right. store consciousness. Store consciousness, maintain all kind of seeds that we have received from our ancestors and our parents. We have positive seeds and negative seeds. And the selective practice of watering the seeds is very important. We should arrange in such a way that we ourselves and the people around us won't water and touch the negative seeds in us to make them manifest on the upper level of consciousness. Instead, we'll do everything possible and invite the people around us to practice touching the positive seeds in us every day. And that is the true meaning of continuous practice. Diligence. So there are the four things concerning this practice. Negative seeds like anger, hatred, discrimination, try your best to keep them down there, not to water them. Second, if it happens that it is touched and manifest up there, try your best to help it to return as quickly as possible to the state of the seed. Third, positive seed, allow it a chance every day to be touched and to manifest. Fourth, once manifested, try your best to maintain them, to keep them manifested as long as you can, so that at the base it will grow into a more important seed. That is the true meaning of diligence. I call it continuous practice. Enjoy your walking meditation.